Welcome back. On his personal social media platform, the president wrote today, quote, "The reflecting pool, so badly damaged by deranged vandals, has been emptied as the massive slash gets repaired. We got it through the great July 4th weekend. What kind of animals would do such a thing? We are looking for a vandal-proof material, but such a thing should not have been necessary." Vandal-proof. Trump, he'd go searching that far and wide for a special, indestructible, probably gold, vandal-proof material. A Washington Post analysis found that the problem much more likely originated during the installation process, which was led by, you guessed it, a company owned by a longtime Trump donor. The administration says Trump wasn't involved in picking the contractor, who it says needed a no-bid contract to get the work done by July 4th. And look, there's an old adage, never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. I would suggest that they're not necessarily mutually exclusive, but that's neither here nor there. Still with me to discuss all of this are Abby Livingston and Basil Smikle. So, Abby, have you learned from your sources what this new vandal-proof material will be?
I haven't heard a word.
Okay.
But on this topic, the thing that's most stunning to me is not his post or anything like that, but it's these images of the FBI investigating this. And these are the world's greatest investigators. And the thing is it's a sideshow for now, but it's like we're approaching the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and the FBI is in charge of counterterrorism. And there have been no incidences of huge scale since Trump has taken over. But if anything happens on a terrorism front or anything like that, this is what the FBI has been doing, focusing on instead of these things. And so I think it gets into a dicey political issue down the road if things don't go well.
I mean, not just down the road. There are a lot of things that the FBI has pulled back from investigating. They're basically no longer investigating. The DOJ is no longer prosecuting white-collar crimes.
Right.
I mean, white-collar criminal prosecutions actually hit an all-time low last year. They've been falling for a long time, but like they're no longer looking at that. They're, you mentioned terrorism.
We're on the 25th anniversary of Enron too. So
that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. I mean, if anything, it may be a feature, not a bug, that we're not going after the white-collar criminals, given that Trump is pardoning a lot of the ones who were convicted. But I do wonder about the optics of all of this. Like, I understand, Basil, why this is important for Donald Trump's very sensitive ego to have deployed a bunch of FBI agents who could be very well doing other things, maybe more productive things, have them go out and, like, investigate, bring their little, whatever, tools and magnifying glasses to, like, look at the gash in the reflecting pool. But I cannot imagine this plays well with the public, or maybe they're just not even noticing.
Well, also remember, somebody was arrested and accused of being vandalizing it, and I'm surprised that he hasn't blamed Obama at this point, or has he? I don't know. Maybe there's still time.
Give him any ideas.
And there's still time. But I can't imagine that it plays well. Going back to that voter that we saw earlier, like, move on.
Yeah.
And having been in New York and during 9/11. And work with a lot of law enforcement. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is, you want the country wants the FBI to do their job, and they want to do their job. I can't imagine that this is something that they look at and say, this is a good use of my time. And I would also add to that, if you look at the sort of mission creep with both with the FBI, with ICE. In particular, ICE, because they've gotten billions of dollars that they didn't have previously, to go out and do what the president wants them to do. And I think that's the rub. That's where the voter starts to get really concerned, because it's not our FBI. It's his FBI. It's his law enforcement agencies. It's everything that's being made to appeal and appease him at his direction, but not going to actually help the common cause of the American people.
I can't imagine it's great for morale for these highly trained law enforcement officers either. Abby, another thing that the president posted on social media today relates to the unbreathable air that many of us on the East Coast and in the Midwest have been dealing with. He says, quote, "We are holding Canada responsible for the fact that they are not properly maintaining their forests and brush therein, and the United States is being unnecessarily invaded by filthy, polluted, and unhealthy air the quality of which is dangerous and totally unacceptable. Cost of this pollution must of necessity be added to the tariffs Canada is currently paying. As the New York Times reported today, in recent months, the Trump administration has actually shuttered several labs that study how wildfires affect human health and air quality. And you will not get any disputing from me, protestation from me that the air is unacceptable. But I don't understand what the strategy is here, or his inability to recognize that to the extent that there are policy tools available to deal with something like this, it's probably related to climate. He's rolled back the climate investments that were made under the previous presidential administration. I don't know. I mean, like, what is he doing here?
I mean, I think so he's talking about, he's blaming Canada for this fire. He's talking about the reflecting pool. You know what we're not talking about? We're not talking about inflation. We're not talking about Epstein. We're not talking about Iran. And so this seems to be his reality show producer mode, where he is just trying to change the subject and grasping at whatever he can find to talk about.
Yeah, but I do think, even if it is a distraction, I mean, I think it should be a serious conversation about how we might mitigate some of these natural disasters that are making the air unbreathable. I mean, he may intend it as a distraction, but it does seem like a valid policy debate that we could be having, a serious policy debate we could be having, we should be having, and instead it's just like, let's tariff the Canadians.
Yeah, and going back to 9/11, remember after the tragedy, there was a lot of conversation about the quality of the air, right on Ground Zero and in the surrounding neighborhoods. We had, and I was working for Senator Clinton at the time, and we had tremendous number of conversations about how we protect residents, how we think about beefing up the EPA, how we think in the future about just the environment broadly. Because if we remember at that time, we weren't given a lot of great advice about about how to protect ourselves in that moment. And so when you think about 25 years later, and this president isn't serious about these issues at all, and is just pointing fingers at Canada and everybody else. And yes, there are real conversations that we should be having, but you can't expect a serious policy position to come from an unserious person.